Yeah, I do think they need some sort of written down statement here. I don't think this is something you can do. You can just pass off as, oh, we'll do this as a race by race basis kind of thing. No, they need something written down here in the IndyCar rulebook for the red flag, so that we can at least have some consistency as we usually talk about. Um, I'm going to leave Ben with some more time here because I think I've said about all I can say on it.
Yeah, Brandon, I appreciate that. Yeah, well, the formal red flag policy should be what the red flag was always made for, safety reasons. And of course, I don't want to talk too much in circles here. I've already given my thoughts on that. But, if we're going to do this, then yes, there needs to be some sort of policy in place. There needs to be some sort of official precedent. I don't know if we do it by laps, if we're applying it just to the Indianapolis 500 or to the entire calendar. I'm sure the number of laps would change based on location, based on track length and all that. If IndyCar ever went back to Richmond, those laps are less than a third the size of IMS here at 3/4 of a mile to 2.5. So, it would be if we're going to keep doing this, and I hope we don't keep doing this, but I think that ship has probably sailed at this point. If we're going to keep doing this, then yes, there needs to be some sort of official, by the books sort of deal in place here. And I don't know. I mean, like I said, the first red flag absolutely justifiable given the serious nature of a crash. The second red flag, not a huge fan of it, but you know what? If you want to try to ensure that you have a nice, good amount of laps, whatever it is, 5 or 4 to go, where we can get a good, nice little run to the finish, then okay. You get your one shot at it. We'll see what happens. The third red flag, in my mind, completely unjustifiable. There was absolutely no way we could have sat there and looked at this and said, yep, that followed the procedure completely 100% to the books. Because as soon as they pulled out, they were on 2 laps to go and had less than 2 laps to go coming to get the white flag. Normally, you get a full warm-up lap after you've come down pit road to warm up the car and get ready for the restart. They didn't have that. So the pace car pulled straight in. As soon as it pulled off pit road, we got a 1-lap dash. Thankfully, everybody behaved themselves and nobody crashed. But I'm again, not a fan of what happened, obviously. And, I think if we're going to keep doing this, absolutely. You've got to put some sort of rule into place that sets a precedent for what we're going to see going forward. Real quick, Joe, you know what else would help? And I brought this up in my live as well. Why don't we space the cars out a little bit more on the restarts? I mean, I'm not sure. I think Pato O'Ward was leading one of them at one point, but the leader has gotten, and we see it in F1 all the time too when we restart from safety cars. You're backing the field up so much and trying to go as late as you possibly can to get a good jump that the field gets so stacked up that they're basically on top of each other. So it makes it exponentially more likely that we're going to see an accident on the restart that just repeats the cycle all over again. If we space the cars out a little bit more and we had that restart with 4 to go instead, maybe they get down to the front stretch cleanly through turns 1 and 2 cleanly, and we're not having this conversation right now. We're maybe having a similar conversation what we had last year and in 2014, but we don't have to throw this complete last-ditch effort out there again because maybe if they'd had a little bit more space, they could have worked with each other a little bit more. I just think sometimes as sanctioning bodies, as series, you have to help the drivers help themselves because, of course, it's the biggest race of the year. You're not going to give an inch when there's less than 10 miles in the Indianapolis 500 to go. But I just think that there are little things that we can look at like that, changing the procedures up a little bit to maybe prevent something like this from happening again without completely sacrificing the integrity of the sporting regulations.
And even before the race was over, the commentators on NBC, they were talking about what if you use that to your advantage? What if you try to jump the start so you can get them to give you a waving finger, like don't do that again. But in effect, you get the thing to finish under yellow. Like you manipulate even their discipline on guys that are trying to jump the restart. I know Pato got stopped for that, and we had to wave off the start there at the end. But that thought crossed my mind too. That might be another addition needed to be added to the rule book.
Indeed, because that's, as you mentioned, Brandon, I was thinking just do what Pato O'Ward did. Bunch up everybody too slow, wave off the restart. Well, wait, this is the last lap. But this is where I think it's race control.
Do they pull a red flag?
Yeah, what did they do? They can't add a lap because then that's overtime. Race control, I feel really mishandled because if Marcus Ericsson did that, normally it's wave off the restart. Well, race is over.